everyone. Good evening. So, welcome to this session of our JC series. So, based on the valuable feedback from our this everyone, I request everyone to be muted themselves, please. Yeah, thank you. So, based on the valuable feedback what we got from the previous session, so we have made a few refinements just to enhance the experience. So, going forward, this platform is now primarily to the medical students, and the medical students will be leading the presentations as well. So because the nutrition education plays a vital role even in the medical training and equipping the future doctors, so with the knowledge to understand the impact of the health, the diet on health and the diseases, and they can begin their career with a strong foundation and taking the lifestyle as a fundamental approaches when they start the career. So with this, I welcome the enthusiastic medical students, the Sanskriti and Harshaprada, to talk on the today's topic, that is Hashimoto's and your gut, that could the plant-based be a missing piece. So let's understand what's that the nutrient, the GI, the gastrointestinal, what the gut and the thyroid axis. So thank you, and I request Sanskriti, please take us through that. So what is Hashimoto's and its connection between the gut and the autoimmune thyroid diseases? Over to you, Sanskriti.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sanskriti. I'm third year MBBS student who is going to be one of the presenters for today. Let me start with introducing Pan India, which has given us the opportunity to be here. Pan India is the part of Global Physician Association for Nutrition, promoting the role of nutrition in preventing and treating diseases. It focuses on integrating evidence-based nutrition into healthcare by empowering professionals with knowledge and tools to improve patient outcomes through better nutrition. Pan India promotes healthier diets and lifestyle to enhance both individual and planetary health. So, without any further delay, we shall start with today's presentation, which is, as you may know, is Hashimoto's and your gut. Could plant be the missing piece? Before starting the presentation, let me ask you all, in your opinion, how crucial is maintaining gastrointestinal health in managing autoimmune thyroid diseases? Is it crucial or is it not? Let us know in the comment box. Let's begin by discussing Hashimoto's thyroiditis. This is the most common cause of hypothyroidism and a key example of thyroid autoimmunity. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, also known as chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis, is an autoimmune disease that leads to an underactive thyroid or hypothyroidism due to gradual destruction of thyroid gland by immune system. Hashimoto's typically peaks between 45 to 65 years of age. It's more common in women. Risk factors are autoimmune diseases, genetics, getting older, elevated thyroid antibody levels, bacterial infection, and etc. It's given in the figure in the right down side. Hashimoto's has a strong genetic component with the key autoantibodies detected as thyroglobulin and thyroperoxidase antibodies. These antibodies trigger inflammation and destruction of thyroid tissues, leading to hypothyroidism. Some symptoms of the Hashimoto's that can be seen in a patient is fatigue, thinning hair, hormonal imbalances, depression and anxiety, and weight gain. Let's take a closer look at the role of gut microbiota in managing immune balance, and how it relates to autoimmune thyroid diseases like Hashimoto's. The human body hosts over 10 raised to 13 microbes, and which is about 70% of this is microbial community residing in our GIT. The gut serves as the largest interface between the internal and external environment, making it a key player in immune regulation. A balanced gut microbiota is essential for maintaining immune homeostasis. It helps eliminating invading pathogens at the same time maintaining self-tolerance, which is crucial to prevent the immune system from attacking our own body. However, when this delicate balance is disrupted, a state known as gut dysbiosis, which leads to increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut, happens. This allows harmful substances, including pathogen toxins, to enter the bloodstreams, triggering an inflammatory response and immune system dysregulation. Over time, this can contribute to the development of autoimmune diseases, including Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So maintaining a healthy gut environment isn't just about digestion. It is a crucial factor in regulating immune health and preventing autoimmune thyroid conditions. As we know, thyroid disorders, particularly autoimmune thyroid disease, which we have been are talking are on rise. But are we addressing one of the key underlying factors? Emerging researches suggest strong bidirectional relationship between the gut microbiome and thyroid function. Today, we'll explore this gut thyroid axis using this figure, discussing how dysbiosis and immune dysregulation can contribute to thyroid pathology and how we can intervene clinically. This figure shows two cycles, one green and the other one red. Green is a positive feedback loop which keeps the thyroid in euthyroid condition, and red is a negative feedback loop that represent diseased condition. First, let's examine the positive feedback loop. So I would like you all to focus on the green arrow on the right, the most right one. A well-balanced gut microbiota plays a critical role in mineral absorption, which directly impacts thyroid hormone synthesis and metabolism. Like iron, selenium are essential for thyroid peroxidase function and deiodinase activity, while iodine is a structural component of T3 and T4. Zinc is crucial for T3 receptor activation and intercellular signaling. Additionally, the thyroid hormones undergo enterohepatic circulation, where they are metabolized in the liver, secreted in bile, and reabsorbed in the gut. This recycling mechanism ensures the stable hormone levels and minimizes fluctuations. Now, I have a question to think for you all to think about. Considering the role of gut microbiota in deiodinase activity, which is by selenium and iron, could dysbiosis contribute to alteration in T4 to T3 conversion? And could this be an overlooked factor in some cases of low T3 syndromes? If you have any opinions, please let us know in the comment box. Now let's shift our attention to the red and yellow arrows towards the center. The pathological side of this diagram uh, shows us dysbiosis and increased intestinal permeability, which is leaky gut. Both of this can cause systemic inflammation on the left side, the red arrow pointing, and immune dysregulation on the right side, leading to autoimmune thyroid diseases, which is AITDs. As we see here, dysbiosis lead to Th1 and Th2 immune activation, promoting autoreactivity against thyroid antigen. Dysfunctional T regulatory cells fails to suppress inappropriate immune responses, while TLR activation and LPS secretion will amplify systemic inflammation and contribute to thyroid epithelial cell damage. This all creates a pro-inflammatory state that primes individual for developing conditions like Hashimoto thyroiditis and Graves' disease. To understand gut dysbiosis as its own self, we will move on to next slide and come back to this figure after that. These two are similar images. We shall focus on the right one for now, which is divided into three parts. Starting with the first, we'll take the left side of the first image, right. Healthy gut, which is the symbiosis state. In a healthy gut, the gut microbiota is balanced with beneficial bacteria. The key elements which are involved in balancing this are intact epithelial barrier, which is 5 tight junctions, secretory IgA and antimicrobial peptides, maintaining the immune homeostasis, and controlled immune response with T cells and B cell functioning properly. A balanced gut supports proper nutrient absorption, including iodine and selenium, which are critical for thyroid hormone synthesis. The middle section shows the dysbiosis. Now, genetic and environmental factors, example diet, stress, antibiotics, can disrupt gut microbes. Pathogenic bacteria overgrowth leads to loss of microbial diversity, increased gut permeability, which is leaky gut, pro-inflammatory cytokine release. This all imbalance can impair nutrient absorption and increase inflammation, triggering thyroid dysfunction. Finally, the continuation of all these all these factors will lead to leaky gut syndrome. Loss of epithelial integrity leads to leaky gut. Pathogens like Klebsiella pneumoniae and Porphyromonas gingivalis can infiltrate the bloodstream. Antigens from these pathogens can resemble thyroid tissues, leading to autoimmune attack on thyroid, which is by molecular mimicry. Example of the diseases which can be caused by molecular mimicry is Hashimoto's itself and Graves also. The immune system overreaction causes chronic inflammation and tissues damage, driving thyroid dysfunction. Now moving back to the figure. Let's look at the left side of the figure now, showing the thyroid hormone deficiency, the red one on the leftmost side. Once thyroid dysfunction sets in, we see a cascade of secondary effects on the gut. First, reduce secondary bile acid production, impairing fat digestion and a microbiome imbalance. Second, loss of microbial diversity, further driving the dysbiosis. Third, increased small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, leading to persistent gut inflammation. This forms a self-perpetuating cycle, where an impaired thyroid. So, as we were talking about breaking the cycle of the vicious cycle of thyroid dysfunction and the gut dysbiosis, there are few therapeutic interventions that can be done. First is probiotics and prebiotics, which is a symbiotic supplementation, which has shown to reduce TSH level, decrease the need for levothyroxine, and improve thyroid hormone bioavailability. Vitamin D supplementations plays a role in modulating autoimmune responses and reducing TH1 and TH2 imbalance. Anti-inflammatory diet, whole food fibers, and fermented food promote microbial diversity and gut barrier integrity. Now, there is another question for you all. Given the strong evidence linking gut health and thyroid function, should microbiome modulation become an integral part of thyroid disease management guidelines? Please let us know your opinions in the comment box. Moving on to get a deeper knowledge of the gut microbiota. We'll see it in this slide. The gut microbiota is dominated by four key bacterial phyla: Firmicutes, Bacteroids, Actinobacter, and Proteobacteria. Together, Firmicutes and Bacteroids make up to 90% of the total gut microbiota and are essential for, first, maintaining lipid metabolism; second, nutrient absorption, like example iodine, selenium, zinc; third, producing short-chain fatty acids, which regulates immune function and inflammation; the fourth, preserving the intestinal barrier and preventing leaky gut. A balanced gut supports immune homeostasis and proper thyroid hormone synthesis and conversion from T4 to T3. So, how does the gut impact the thyroid directly? Several factors come into play. First is dietary pattern. The availability of iodine, selenium, and zinc from the diet is influenced by the gut health. Nutrient absorption. The gut's ability to absorb essential nutrient is critical for thyroid hormone production. Energy homeostasis. A balanced gut microbiota supports proper metabolic function, which influence thyroid activity. Immune regulation. A balanced gut bacteria reduces inflammation and autoimmune responses, while hormones and enzymes, this gut bacteria influence hormone levels like cortisol, which can affect the thyroid function. When the gut microbiota is balanced, thyroid function is supported and immune reactions are kept under control. Now let's look at what happens when gut balance is disturbed, a state known as dysbiosis. Dysbiosis can be triggered by poor diet, like high sugar, low fiber, stress, antibiotic overuse, environmental toxins, etc. This all leads to an imbalance in the Firmicutes and bacteroid ratio and the overgrowth of certain harmful bacteria. Additionally, the loss of beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus reduces short chain fatty acid production, which is SCFA. SCFAs are critical for maintaining immune tolerance and reducing inflammation. Loss of SCFAs weakens the gut barrier, leading to the leaky gut and systemic inflammation. This systemic inflammation increases the risk of autoimmune responses and targeting the thyroid, leading to thyroid dysfunction. Let's now explore how diet influences gut health and ultimately the thyroid function. Diet plays a critical role in shaping the composition of intestinal microbiota and maintaining gut homeostasis. A well-balanced diet stabilizes the gut mucosal barrier, which is essential for regulating immune response and protecting against inflammation. Specifically, diet rich in non-digestible carbohydrates like dietary fibers and, resistant starches found in plant-based foods enable gut microbes to produce short-chain fatty acids. SCFAs have a very beneficial effects, which includes reducing mucosal inflammation, strengthening the epithelial barrier, which prevents pathogenic infection. Now, by supporting gut health, diet helps regulate immune function and protect against autoimmune responses, including those affecting the thyroid. Now, let's compare how different diets affect gut and thyroid. An unhealthy Western diet high in animal fats, protein, salt, and refined sugar, disrupts gut balance, increasing oxidative stress and promoting inflammation. The imbalance raises the risk of autoimmunity, including the autoimmune thyroid diseases. In contrast, a predominantly plant-based diet supports a healthier gut environment. It is rich in vegetable, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains, low saturated fats, and high in unsaturated fats like olive oil. Mechanism of protection of these diet is that the plant-based diet supports more diverse gut microbiota, increasing the beneficial SCFA producing bacteria. This reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, strengthens the gut barrier, and improves immune tolerance, ultimately reducing the risk of thyroid autoimmunity. This highlights the powerful role of dietary intervention in modulating the gut thyroid axis and improving clinical outcomes for patients with this thyroid dysfunction. Thank you. The next part of the presentation will be taken up by fellow presenter Harsha. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Harsha Prada from Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences. Today, I'll be explaining the role of gut microbiota in modulating immune function with a main focus on autoimmune thyroid diseases. That is today's topic, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So today, I'll be highlighting the mechanisms, clinical implications, and applications of prebiotics and probiotics in the disease management. So firstly, defining the prebiotics and the probiotics. These prebiotics are the non-digestible carbohydrates, which mainly include fibers, which like fruits, vegetables like bananas, berries, asparagus, etc. These serve as food source for beneficial gut bacteria like bifidobacteria and lactobacilli. They enhance gut microbiota composition and they indirectly support the immune function. Coming to the probiotics, they are live microorganisms which, when administered in enough amounts, they modulate immune responses and compete with the pathogenic bacteria, and thereby they enhance the integrity of the gut barrier. There are different strains that are studied in probiotics, which mainly include lactobacillus species and bifidobacterium species. And these prebiotics and probiotics, they have different mechanisms of action. Firstly, the competitive exclusion, where the probiotics outcompete the pathogens by occupying the intestinal niches. And then there is a short chain fatty acid production by prebiotic fermentation. And then moving on to the next slide, where we discuss the clinical implications of prebiotics and probiotics. So firstly, we have the modulation of immune responses, which is by the prebiotics. They act by reducing the inflammation, and this is by regulating the cytokines in the body. And then next would be the enhancement of intestinal barrier integrity, which is by the probiotics now. And these act by upregulating the tight junction proteins. And the third point would be promoting the beneficial gut bacterial growth, which is again by the prebiotics. And then enhanced microbial resilience, which is maintained by both prebiotics and probiotics, which act by increasing the microbiome diversity. And then finally is the reduction of systemic inflammation, where the reduction is directly linked to the metabolic disorders, etc., via the gut-brain axis. Moving on to the next slide. In this slide, there are a number of studies indicating the presence of gut thyroid axis and the importance of the important influence of gut microbiota on the thyroid function. And as prebiotics and probiotics show therapeutic potential in the treatment of intestinal dysbiosis, the aim of this review is to evaluate the efficacy of their supplementation in primary thyroid diseases. Next slide, please. In this slide, I'll be discussing about the leaky gut hypothesis, where there's an increased intestinal permeability, allowing the bacterial antigens to trigger the autoimmune responses against thyroid tissue. So the probiotics, they have different effects on the autoimmune thyroid diseases. Firstly, about the lactobacillus species, where the supplementation has been shown to reduce the thyroid antibodies like anti-TPO and anti-TG. And coming to the bifidobacterium species, they help in regulating the TH1 and TH2 balance, and thereby they decrease the systemic inflammation. And a healthy gut microbiome is associated with improved regulation of immune function, which may influence the progression of other autoimmune diseases. Next slide. In this, we'll be discussing the sources of different prebiotics and probiotics. The sources of prebiotics would be whole grains like oats, barley, wheat bran, and these contain high fibers. And then legumes, where we have chickpeas, lentils, etc. And then fruits, which include bananas, apples, and others. And then we have the short chain fatty acid production from the prebiotics, where there is inulin fermentation resulting in the butyrate synthesis, which strengthens the gut barrier. And then sources of probiotics, which includes fermented plant foods like kimchi, etc. And then dairy-free probiotic alternatives like almond, soy, coconut-based yogurts, etc. And then we have polyphenol-rich foods, which enhance the probiotic survival. This includes green tea, cocoa, and berries, etc. Next slide. And this slide shows a picture which explains the dietary fiber, how the dietary fiber influences immunity through its metabolites, that is the short chain fatty acids again. So, firstly, the breakdown of the SCFA production, where the gut microbiota ferments the fibers, the dietary fibers, to produce the short chain fatty acids, that is acetate, propionate, and butyrate. These SCFAs, they have direct effects on the gut barrier. They act with the gut cells, like that is the enterocytes. They to enhance the gut barrier integrity. This is by increasing the mucin production and also increasing the number of tight junctions. And they also reduce the gut inflammation by decreasing the LPS linkage, that is the bacterial antigens. And then the SCFA butyrate, it fuels the enterocytes, keeping the gut lining. Next slide. Now moving on to the anti-inflammatory foods, which are basically the foods that suppress the inflammatory cytokines in the body, and they again modulate the immune function. They have three main mechanisms, which are inhibiting the activation of pro-inflammatory pathways, reducing the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, and then enhancing the production of anti-inflammatory mediators. There are different foods involved here, like omega-3 fatty acids, which are present in flax seeds and walnuts. They compete with the omega-6 fatty acids to reduce the pro-inflammatory prostaglandins. And then we have the polyphenol-containing foods like garlic, ginger, green tea that suppress the oxidative stress. And then we have the fermented foods, which enhance the gut microbiomes, thereby reducing the gut-driven inflammation. Moving on to the next slide, where we discuss the oxidative stress mechanisms in Hashimoto's. There are two main mechanisms involved, first being the enzymatic defense, and second being the non-enzymatic antioxidants. This enzymatic defense, it is done by superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. In turn, they neutralize the reactive oxygen species. And these require minerals like selenium, zinc, and copper as their cofactors for their action. And the second mechanism being the non-enzymatic antioxidants, where we have vitamin C, E, etc. They directly scavenge the free radicals. And moving on to the dietary components. Firstly, we have the dietary fats, which include the saturated fats. They promote the inflammatory response by activating TLR and promoting the pro-inflammatory cytokine production. The omega-3 fatty acid containing foods mainly have these anti-inflammatory effects. These saturated food fats are usually found in red meat, butter, and processed foods. And so they're supposed to be minimized in our diets. And then we have dietary proteins. Um, and then dietary vitamins. Dietary vitamins, the vitamin D, it modulates the COX-2 inhibitors, reducing the inflammation. And then vitamin A, it maintains the gut barrier integrity and enhances the innate immune function. And then dietary minerals, we have iron, which is essential for the T cell function and the reactive oxygen species regulation. And then zinc, which in case if you have a zinc deficiency, it results in dysregulated immune responses, thereby leading to increased oxidative stress. And then we have selenium, with whose deficiency is most common in Hashimoto's thyroiditis, as it is required for the thyroid antioxidant enzymes. The next slide. Yeah. And in this picture, we'll be discussing the relationship between the gut health and thyroid function, where the main points are highlighted are improved absorption of thyroid medication, so that a healthier gut may enhance the body's ability to absorb the thyroid medication more effectively, and then reduce symptoms. Gut treatments can usually help reduce symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, depression, etc., which are usually associated with thyroid dysfunction. And then a proper gut health also helps in lowering the TSH levels, that is the thyroid stimulating hormone levels, thereby indicating improved thyroid functions. And then we have the thyroid antibodies, where by addressing the gut issues, we can help lower the autoimmune thyroid antibodies. These antibodies are usually common in conditions like the Hashimoto's. And then we have reduced thyroid inflammation, where a healthier gut thereby decreases the inflammation of the thyroid gland. Next slide. Yeah. This slide, adherence to plant-based dietary fiber shows potential benefits for reducing Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And this also helps in increasing the gut microbiome diversity beneficial to overall health. Next slide, please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Harshaprada and Sanskriti, for giving this wonderful presentation. But due to some it got this little bit disturbed here and there. But as I just said in the beginning of the presentation, this DC platform is now mainly that's primary focused on the medical students, and these enthusiastic medical students have done a beautiful presentation and presented it well. So I thank them, and they have given like understanding that making us understanding on the Hashimoto's, the gut connection, and the role of this plant-based diet, keeping the gut healthy. So please let me know if any in the chat box, how did you feel about the presentation? And if any queries, please drop in the chat box. And we will be like in the upcoming DC series, we'll keep in check of these the connecting issues and all, definitely. And also we'll be coming up with the interesting topics. If any such topics, if you want to listen from us, please do drop in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you, Rita ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we have one in a personal like personal window. So can Sanskriti, can the please mute please mute themselves. Okay, Sanskriti, can you just tell me this? Can plant-based also have a negative impact on a gut? We have a question on the personal chat box.
Hello.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
Sanskriti. Yes, Sans.
Yes, ma'am.
You there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It can have a negative impact, the
You want?
plant-based diet, in hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes. It can have a negative impact, the plant-based diet, in such ways when you take processed food, such as potato chips and all, because plant-based desserts, fried snacks, refined grains, sugary drinks, which are derived from plants, but these are very much processed. So these include unhealthy fats, sugars, additives, and all, which will promote gut inflammation and disrupt the gut microbiota, which will lead to leaky gut. That what we were talking about.
Yes.
So in plant-based diet
Yes.
also, we need to be sure about what we are taking. It shouldn't be unhealthy plant-based diet as such.
Yes, yes, that we call it as like a plant-based dietary index. That is the healthy plant-based
Yes,
dietary index and the unhealthy plant-based
unhealthy.
dietary index.
Yes, or
Yes,
not all
yes. Thank you,
plant-based diets
thank
are
you.
equal.
Yes, that should be. We should be very cautious in choosing that is the healthy plant-based foods.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes. I think because of we are running short of time, I think I think we'll just sum up. We'll wrap up. I think I'll just Harshaprada, can you just give some practical ways how one can improve their gut healthy daily? Some practical tips just to wrap up the session.
Yes,
Harshaprada?
ma'am. So firstly,
Yes,
by
yes.
including more prebiotics and probiotics in our diet, like prebiotics with foods like fruits, vegetables like bananas, asparagus, etc. The main goal is to include 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day so that the gut microbiome diversity can be supported. And by including probiotics as well, to introduce beneficial bacteria into the body. And maybe minimizing the intake of processed foods and also refined sugars or artificial sweeteners in our diet because they might disrupt the gut microbiota. And hydration is always important. So drinking at least 2 to 3 liters per day is necessary. Yeah, that's
Yes, yes. One more like is okay. The people with the food sensitive, the gluten can have a problem. So you can
Yeah,
say that is it necessary that everyone in the Hashimoto's they need to follow this gluten-free diets?
ma'am.
uh,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Harsha, continue.
it might
Anyone
not be
can answer.
necessary
Not a,
for all Hashimoto's patients, but maybe only for individuals with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity or any persistent inflammation in the gut. Uh, Maybe this gluten-free diet can lower the thyroid antibodies and can reduce inflammation, but there is no specific guideline recommending this gluten-free diet for every Hashimoto's patient. So, yeah.
yes, yes. Definitely. If they want to follow the gluten-free, definite one check we need to do with the celiac. They have the intolerance with the celiac disease or anything that we need to check. I think definitely. But to some extent, some of the symptoms can be reduced if we follow the gluten-free diet. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. So we'll be meeting with the next interesting topic. If any questions or anything is there, and please follow us in the all the pan India social media platforms where they're in all the platforms. We'll be coming up with the interesting topics next. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.